The dust rose in slow spirals beneath the hooves of Alexandra Hale's horse as she rode into Dry Creek Ranch, the sun hanging low and merciless over the plains. Folks along the frontier whispered her name with equal parts hope and suspicion. Some called her a miracle worker, others a fraud. But nearly everyone knew her by the same title, the water which Alexandra reined in near the corral, her gaze sweeping across cracked earth and sagging fences. The land was thirsty. She could feel it the way others felt, a storm in their bones. Years of walking fields with a willow stick had taught her how to listen to the hum beneath the soil, to the quiet pull of hidden streams before she could dismount. A voice cut through the heat. "You lost, miss." She turned to see a tall man leaning against the fence, hat tipped low, arms crossed like he expected trouble. His shirt sleeves were rolled up, forearms dusted with grit, posture rigid with authority. This had to be the foreman. "Alexandra Hale," she said evenly. "I was sent for." He didn't move. "By who?" "By Mr. Calder," she replied. "Your ranch owner. He wrote me about a dry well near the south pasture." The man straightened slowly, eyes narrowing. "Benjamine Crow," he said. "Foreman here. And I don't believe in water witches." Alexandra hid her smile. She'd heard that before. "That's all right. The water does." Benjamine snorted. "We've had surveyors, engineers, and a man with a drilling rig. Look at that land. No one found a thing. And now Calder's wasting money on superstition." She slid down from her saddle with practiced grace. "Science and belief aren't always enemies, Mr. Crow. Sometimes they just speak different languages." He watched her closely, clearly unimpressed. "You plan on talking to the dirt." "I plan on listening," she said, reaching into her saddlebag. Benjamine shook his head. "You won't find anything out there but disappointment." "Then you won't have lost much," Alexandra replied calmly. "But if I do," he hesitated, "then I'll admit I was wrong." That was enough for her. They rode together, toward the south pasture, silence thick between them. Benjamine studied her from the corner of his eye, her straight-backed posture, the confidence in her movements. She didn't look like a charlatan. That unsettled him more than he liked. When they reached the dry well, Alexandra dismounted and knelt, pressing her palm to the earth. Benjamine scoffed under his breath. She stood and pulled out a forked willow branch, its bark smooth and pale. As she walked, the stick remained steady till suddenly it dipped, hard, tugging against her grip. Alexandra stopped. Benjamine frowned. "What now?" She closed her eyes, feeling the vibration run up her arms. "There's water here, deep but strong." "That's impossible," he said. She opened her eyes and met his gaze. "Mark this spot." The air between them shifted, charged with something neither wanted to name. Benjamine stared at the ground, then back at her, doubt warring with something dangerously close to belief. "You really think you can change the fate of this land?" he said quietly. Alexandra smiled, not triumphant, but certain. "I already have, and for the first time in years." Benjamine Crow wondered if the dry earth beneath his boots might finally give weight to water, and to something far more unsettling. By the next morning, word had already spread across Dry Creek Ranch that the water, which had found a spot worth digging. Ranch hands gathered near the south pasture, some curious, others openly mocking. Benjamine stood apart, arms folded, jaw tight, as he watched Alexandra direct the placement of markers with calm authority. "She's got Calder wrapped around her finger," one cowboy muttered. Benjamine didn't answer. He wasn't sure what bothered him, more the men's laughter, or the way Alexandra moved across the land as if it spoke only to her. "Foreman," she called, turning toward him. "I'll need a crew." He walked over slowly. "You're confident for someone standing on cracked dirt." She met his gaze, without flinching. "Confidence comes from listening instead of assuming." Benjamine exhaled sharply. "You're asking me to put my men to work on nothing but a feeling." "On years of experience," she corrected. "And if I'm wrong, I'll leave without a penny more." That caught his attention. "You'd do that?" "I've done it before," she said. Truth doesn't need protection. Against his better judgment, Benjamine nodded. All right, you get 2 days. After that, we stop. Alexandra smiled faintly. That's all I need. The digging began, under the harsh afternoon sun. Shovels struck dirt, then stone, sweat poured. Jokes turned sour as hours passed without sign of water. Benjamine felt a grim satisfaction building proof that instinct and hard work mattered more than old folklore. But Alexandra never wavered. She stayed near the marked spot, eyes closed at times, fingers brushing the willow stick like it was a compass. That evening, as the crew packed up, Benjamine approached her. You don't seem worried. Water doesn't rush, she said softly. It waits. He studied her face in the fading light. You ever wrong? She looked at him then, really looked. Yes, but not today. Night settled over the ranch, bringing cool air and restless thoughts. Benjamine lay awake in his bunk, her words echoing. He'd trusted maps, measurements, and muscle his whole life. Trusting a woman with a stick felt reckless. At dawn, the crew returned to the pit. The first hour passed in silence. Then, foreman, a voice shouted. The dirt's changing. Benjamine rushed forward. The soil at the bottom of the pit had darkened, damp, clinging to the shovel blade. Another strike. A low gurgle echoed up from the earth. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then water surged upward, cold and clear, spilling over boots and stone. Cheers erupted. Men laughed, slapped backs, shouted praises to God and luck, and anything else they could name. Benjamine stood, frozen. Alexandra knelt at the edge, eyes closed, relief softening her features. When she stood, their gazes met across the chaos. You knew, he said quietly. I listened, she replied. Later, when the men had gone, Benjamine found her alone near the well. I owe you an apology. She raised an eyebrow. For not believing. For dismissing you, he said. For assuming. Alexandra nodded. Skepticism isn't a sin, Mr. Crow. Refusing to learn is. He smiled, despite himself. Benjamine, he corrected. Alexandra. They stood in companionable silence, the sound of flowing water between them. The land had changed and so had something else, something neither could deny. Science had met belief, and sparks had begun to fly. The new, well-transformed Dry Creek Ranch, almost overnight. Grass near the south pasture began to green, cattle lingered longer, and hope something long absent tried too, the men's voices. Yet for Benjamine Crow, the greatest change wasn't in the land. It was in the way Alexandra Hale now occupied his thoughts. She stayed on, at Mr. Calder's request, to survey other areas of the ranch. Benjamine told himself it was practical to accompany her. He knew the land better than anyone. Still, he couldn't ignore the way his pulse quickened whenever she drew near. Willow stick in hand, skirts brushing the tall grass, they spent long days riding together, the sun tracing slow arcs overhead. Alexandra spoke of underground rivers and pressure lines, of how stone carried memory. Benjamine countered with talk of soil composition, rainfall patterns, and failed wells he'd seen with his own eyes. You trust what you can measure, she said once, guiding her horse along a ridge. And you trust what you feel, he replied. She smiled. Feeling is another kind of measurement. He shook his head, amused, despite himself. You make it sound respectable. It is, she said softly, just not written in books. One afternoon, dark clouds gathered suddenly, rolling in like a warning. Thunder cracked, spooking the horses. They barely made it to an old line shack before rain came down in sheets, drumming on the roof. Inside, the air was close and heavy. Alexandra wrung water from her sleeves. Benjamine started a small fire, the flickering light casting shadows across her face. You don't scare easy, he said. I've been chased out of towns, she replied. Mocked, threatened. That doesn't stop you. No, she said simply, because water means life, and life is worth the risk. Benjamine studied her, something in his chest tightening. People fear what they don't understand, or what challenges them, she added. Thunder boomed again, closer this time. The storm seemed to press in, isolating them from the rest of the world. In that quiet pocket, Benjamine felt his certainty begin to unravel. "You make me question things," he admitted. Alexandra met his gaze. "Good." The rain eased as quickly as it had come. When they stepped outside, the land smelled fresh, reborn. Benjamine helped her mount, his hand lingering a second too long. Neither pulled away. That night, rumors spread among the ranch hands. A woman like Alexandra didn't belong. Some said she was trouble. Others whispered she'd bewitched the foreman himself. Benjamine heard them and bristled. "Watch your mouths," he warned. "She's earned her place here." Alexandra overheard none of it, but she sensed the shift. People always turned. Eventually, a week later, an argument erupted near the north field. A hired man accused Alexandra of leading them astray again. Voices rose. Before Benjamine could intervene, Alexandra stepped forward. "I don't ask for faith," she said calmly. "Only patience." The man scoffed. "You don't belong here." Benjamine moved to her side. "She belongs wherever she chooses." Their eyes met, surprise flickering across her face. In that moment, Benjamine realized the truth unsettled him more than any superstition. Belief wasn't the opposite of reason. Sometimes it was where reason ended. The heart began. The north field proved stubborn. Day after day, Alexandra walked its length, willow stick quiet in her hands, the land offering no answers. The ranch hands grew restless. Doubt crept back in, like dust on the wind. Benjamine felt it too, but this time, it wasn't aimed at Alexandra. It was aimed at himself. "You don't have to keep trying," he said one evening, as they stood overlooking the field. The sky painted in deep oranges and reds. "You've already proven enough." Alexandra shook her head. "Water doesn't always lie close to the surface. Neither do people." He studied her profile, the determination etched into every line. "You're talking about the land," he said. She glanced at him, a knowing look in her eyes. "Am I?" That night, a group of men rode in from a neighboring ranch. Their leader, a sharp-eyed man named Hollis, wasted no time stirring trouble. "Heard you've got a witch digging holes on Calder's land," Hollis said loudly in the saloon. "Funny how water appears when a pretty woman waves a stick." Laughter followed. Benjamine stood so fast, his chair toppled. "Say another word." Hollis smirked. "Touchy, aren't you?" Must be under her spell. The room went silent. Alexandra's voice cut through the tension. "There is no spell," she said evenly. "Only ignorance." Hollis sneered. "Prove it. Find water where no one ever has. Tomorrow, or you leave." Benjamine turned on her. "You don't owe them anything." "I owe myself," she replied. The next morning, under the watchful eyes of half the town, Alexandra walked the far edge of the north field, a place long declared useless. The willow stick trembled faintly, then stilled. Nothing. Murmurs rose. Benjamine's chest tightened. He wanted to ride out, end this spectacle. But Alexandra closed her eyes, breathing deep, lowering herself to her knees. She pressed her palm to the soil. Then, the stick dipped slow, deliberate. "There," she said. Digging began. Hours passed. Sweat and doubt mingled freely. Hollis laughed. Townsfolk shook their heads. Then stone cracked. Water seeped through. A hush fell. As the well filled, Alexandra swayed, exhaustion finally claiming her. Benjamine caught her before she fell. "You did it," he whispered. She smiled faintly. "We did." That night, under a sky blazing with stars, Benjamine walked her back to her room. Words pressed between them, heavy and urgent. "I don't believe in magic," he said quietly. "I know, but I believe in you." Alexandra reached for his hand. "That's enough." The ground beneath them had shifted once, Morand this time. It was their hearts that had found something deep and undeniable. Morning broke, gentle over Dry Creek Ranch. Sunlight, glinting off fresh water, pooled in the north field. The town's whispers had changed. Overnight skepticism, replaced by awe, mockery by respect. Alexandra Hale stood at the edge of the well, hands clasped, listening to the steady promise beneath the earth. The land spoke clearly now. Benjamine approached, boots crunching on gravel. He stopped beside her, close enough that she could feel the warmth of him without turning. "They're calling it Hales Well," he said. She smiled softly. "Names don't matter. The water does." He watched her for a long moment. "Calder wants you to stay. Says the ranch could use someone who hears what the land is saying." Alexandra exhaled, the decision already weighing on her. "I've never stayed anywhere long." "I know," Benjamine said. "You follow the work, and the work follows need," she replied. They stood in silence, the kind that didn't demand answers. In the distance, cattle lowed contentedly, and the wind carried the clean scent of wet soil, rare luxury. "I was wrong about a lot of things," Benjamine said at last. "About you. About belief." Alexandra turned to face him. "Belief isn't blind, Benjamine. It's earned." His name on her lips still startled Jimin the best way. "I used to think science was the only truth," he continued. "That anything else was foolish." "And now?" she asked. "Now, I think truth has more than one doorway." She studied him, searching for doubt. Finding none, she reached for his hand. He took it, steady and sure. Hollis left town that afternoon. Others followed, chastened by what they'd witnessed. Those who stayed offered quiet apologies and genuine thanks. Alexandra accepted them all without triumph. Water, she knew, humbled everyone eventually. As the sun dipped low, Benjamine walked her to the ridge overlooking the ranch. The wells glimmered below like new constellations on the ground. "You could make a life here," he said carefully. "If you wanted." She looked out over the land, then back at him. "And if the land calls me away, I'll listen," he said. "Same as you." Her throat tightened. "You'd do that." "I'd do more," he answered. "But I won't cage what was born to move." Alexandra laughed softly, a sound carried by the wind. "Then maybe," she said, "I'll stay until the land tells me otherwise." Benjamine leaned in, resting his forehead against hers. The kiss that followed was unhurried, certain like water finding its course. They built something. In the weeks that followed, not a miracle, not a myth, a partnership. Alexandra mapped the hidden veins beneath the ranch. Benjamine translated her findings into plans and placements. Science met belief, and neither diminished the other. Together, they made the land sing. On a cool evening, as stars emerged one by one, Alexandra set her willow stick aside. "For now," she said. Benjamine smiled. "For now is good." And in that shared understanding of patience, of trust, of love that didn't demand certainty, they found the truest claim of all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Western stories.